Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ankara, Czechia, day number 2 of week number 2 on the ISU Junior Grand Prix. I'm Ted Barden. Mark Hanratty will be joining us in his studio in Nottingham. First up on day number 2 is the rhythm dance. Now, the favorites coming into this have to be Pidgaina and Artem Koval of Ukraine. They were 4th at the Junior Grand Prix final and at the Junior World Championships. But the teams in front of them have either split or are in senior. So the pathway to the top of the mountain is clear, and they're going to want to start this year off with a great skate. After that, it's really unknown. The North American teams, both from Canada and the United States, always strong, but they're relatively unknown, so we'll have to see what happens there. And don't forget about Yucel and Pak from Czechia. They're going to want to have a good skate here in front of their home audience. They were 9th last year at this event, and it'll be one day before a national holiday, Victory Day here in Czechia. The rhythm dance, 17 teams from 13 nations. It starts right now. Welcome everyone to Ankara. Beautiful shot, drone shot of downtown, just outside the facility here, hosting this the second year in a row, the Junior Grand Prix. Ice dance coming up. Mark Hanratty joining me from Nottingham in Great Britain. Welcome, Mark.
Yeah, good morning, Ted. I am very excited to see the start of day 2 and the start of the rhythm dance event, and to see how the 1990s theme has been picked up by everybody as we take a little look at the judges who will be casting their eye and opinions over the rhythm dance to come.
And their numbers. And there's a look at the technical panel as well. We'll be listening in on the technical panel as a new experiment here in the ISU, part of the 2030 vision for the ISU, looking at how we can provide more information, more transparency in what the process is for how the results come out. And it's been a fascinating experience. I know how it all works, but I wasn't listening to it while we were doing the commentary, and now we are, and perhaps in the future, maybe people will be able to access the calling during the performance. It's so professional and so well done. We would like everyone to hear that. But we'll see what happens as we take a look at the start order for this event.
And perhaps then, Ted, because you are on site and on location and you have access to the discussion from the technical panel, you'll become ice dance aficionado and expert on all things level assigned for the elements in this rhythm dance.
Not on your life. That will not be happening as an aficionado. That will never happen in ice dance. No. I know enough about it to be scary. To be scary and scared.
Yeah.
Right? Love the discipline. But it is complicated. There's a lot of detail there. And I think if people had a fascination for learning all the detail, they'll say, wow, this is a difficult discipline, and it's analyzed with such a microscope that they appreciate the judging process of that. But because you don't get that access, you don't have that information, it's hard to really understand how you come up with a result. Although, being fair, complained about it because you can clearly see, based on sport and art, that the top team is the top team.
Absolutely, and it's just, as you say, there's so many details and so much information for the dancers. And in front of me now, I've got a couple of the ISU communications. So the communications that the ISU publish every year are for the coaches and for the skaters to be able to know how to deliver the best performances that they can, how to accrue the most points as possible. And I'd say it's all laid out for them, but one of the communications I've got in front of me is 13 pages. There's another with 22 pages. It's a lot. It's a lot.
God, it's, that's incredible. And to have it at the top of your mind and not have to look back in the papers, which most people have to do because there's so much detail to look at. But rest assured, the criteria is there, and the judges follow it extremely well. The technical panel really does, and that's what's interesting about their discussion. And I'll be listening in and bringing any of that to you, Mark, as you do your expert analysis. I always love doing the ice dance because I have to do less, right? So that's
interesting. Is we're looking at this, the skaters on screen now. We're getting a little sneaky peek as to what will come, obviously, within their rhythm dance. And I suppose at the start of this second Junior Grand Prix, the second stage of 7 on this year's ISU Junior Grand Prix series, important just to reconnect with the theme for this year's rhythm dance. And the theme is the same for the juniors and the seniors. And it is the music, dance styles, and feeling of the 1990s. So we've seen the 70s and the 80s being undertaken in previous seasons. Now it is the turn of the 1990s for the dancers to interpret.
Well,
and the rhythm dance must take high energy and entertaining styles from this decade.
I've got to say I'm happy that we've left the 70s. 80s were okay, but the 70s were really an ugly era. Unfortunately, it was my era. And so I'm glad we're moving up the charts here. Now we're into the 90s.
Yeah, who knows where it's going to go next, and that'll be interesting. It's so great to hear from the Ice Dance Technical Committee. And I was listening to a podcast, I think it was The Future of Figure Skating, and it was a podcast with Evan Bates as the man being interviewed. And he, in that podcast, was just referencing the communication between the skaters and the Ice Dance Technical Committee. And Evan was just praising the Ice Dance Technical Committee for taking on board the opinions of the skaters.
Yeah.
And even last week when we were in Riga, the Ice Dance Technical Committee member who was on site created a meeting opportunity for the skaters and the coaches and the team leaders to connect with them, just so that they could, check in. And I thought, it's so great to hear that the skaters, Evan Bates, the world champion, he's saying, yep, the Ice Dance Tech Committee, they want the best for the sport, and they are collaborating with the skaters to make that happen, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's happened for a number of years. They've been very open in getting the feedback from the judges, or from the coaches rather. Basically at a world championships, they always have those meetings. So it's very collaborative, community working together for the best interest of the ice dance discipline.
Yeah, and it was great. United, we're busy as ever with post-production meetings and the stuff that we have to do beyond the event. So I wasn't able to attend the meeting, but having chatted to some coaches just on the flight back to the UK or I think Frankfurt, they were saying that the interest was in feedback from the coaches. How can we help the sport? What can we further do to entice and attract more viewership? And that is totally in line, really, with the Vision 2030, the Go ISU opportunity, innovation, growth, opportunity, innovation, safeguarding, and unity.
Well, as we get started with this discipline here on day number 2 of week number 2 on the Junior Grand Prix, the rhythm dance. It starts right now. Our first team represents Germany, Nelly Elisa Hemcke and Artem Sladkov, 16 and 18 years old, second Junior Grand Prix season, 5th ranked junior team in Germany.
And Nelly and Artem, which I've chosen the music, gonna make you sweat for their rhythm dance. Germany's Nelly Elisa Hemcke and Artyom Sladkov open the rhythm dance competition. And Ted, I remember the 90s. It's just fun. It's already taking me, as I remember from last week in Riga, into, all these interesting, fun tracks. And as we see the other German skaters or coaches supporting these athletes now, this absolutely ticks the box in regards to the the Ice Dance Technical Committee's desire for high energy and entertaining dance styles from the decade. So totally taking the remit that has been offered to them and embracing it from Nelly, Artyom, and the team behind this performance. So we have a little look back. And here, quick step. So 2 pattern dance sections. And here, if we slow down, this is a key point for the women. 2 inside edges. Simple to do, but hard to do well enough to be called. And then here, we've got this little change of edge for the man. And that another key point. Easy to do, hard to do sufficiently cleanly, as we see the curve lift and a deep, deep curve lift in the spread eagle. Well done by Artyom, and the 1-foot exit, another one of the level features to help them to achieve the level 4, which they've comfortably done. Here, the non-touch step sequence, the same element for juniors and the seniors that you'll see later on in the season, working through the difficult turns. And Ted, little bibbly-bobbly boo there for Artyom. But when we see the step sequences, we now look at the twizzles, we often talk about how ice dancers have so much criteria and it's so difficult to understand. The step sequence, less to do than the single skaters, that was close, but more clarity in terms of getting the level called for the turns. I love the finish there from Artyom. He was totally invested as Vitaly Schultz joins them, their coach, in the kiss and cry. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
There you go. You just give me those. I'm sorry I missed the replays a little bit there for you, but...
Oh, no, it's great to see. And you could really dissect, or for me, I don't know, I feel you could dissect every tiny section. As an overall, for Nelly and Artyom, I really enjoyed the performance. They need to just continue to get clearer in each of the shapes that they make so that their technique is entirely the same and each line that they hit is a total match. And you can still see that's the work in progress development stage they're at.
Well, the personal best was 42.67 last season. We'll see what the score is here in the first event of this year for them. 46.35. They are the first team out. And they look like, well, that's not too bad. Could be better.
Vitaly's saying, it's okay. Let's just wait and see how things roll.
Settle down. Here we go. Keeping the numbers and the performance in perspective. Our next team represents the United States of America, 16-year-old Annalise Stapert and 17-year-old Maxime Korotcov. U.S. nationals in juniors, they were 7th. They're coached by Alexei Kilkov and Elena Novak.
And this team also scheduled to compete in Varescon, so the start of a busy and exciting 2 weeks.
Step by step, ooh baby, gonna get to you, girl. Step by step.
Annelies Stapert and Maxime Korotcov representing the United States of America, choosing Groove is in the Heart. And I think that's one of the popular tracks, perhaps, of the season, based on last week as well. And Joy, the high energy as we see support from them. I think from the other American Ice Dance team's family, perhaps supporting them. Nice to see that too. The high energy requirements just make this so much more fun to watch as we look back at Annelies and Maxime's performance. Here, the Twizzles, they chose to stay on one foot. That's a feature for the level, and it's so difficult, I think, to do without touching down. Such burn in the thighs through the right leg when they stay on one foot as a feature for the Twizzles, and they did it well, opening with that. Here we've got the rumba, the compulsory dance rumba. The steps here are 87 years old. But now, as we can see, Annelies and Maxime, you can change the holds, you can open up the hold and be a little bit more creative with it, as to with the timing requirements now. But all of the teams must perform those steps. In regards to the steps and the choreography choice that they have within this element, the non-touch step sequence. And great to see that whilst they're working the difficult turns, they are constantly trying to showcase the 90s theme and style. As we see the jump entry feature into the rotational lift. Maxime doing all he can to get lots of ice coverage through that to push the grade of execution up. And still they look like super fresh at the end of the program. They don't look in the slightest bit fatigued.
No, great energy.
Testament, obviously. Yeah. Fun. Ice dance is fun. I'm enjoying. Well done, everybody, so far. And Annelies, she's first year of Associates in Psychology, I gather, a dual enrollment. And Maxime's on track to graduate, and he's got an Associate's degree in Computer System and Information System.
54.06. They look thrilled with that. And that'll put the team in first place. Just 2 teams have skated, so much more to come, but they're thrilled with that score. There is a look at our next team, team number 3 of 4 in the first group, representing Bulgaria, Elena Dimitrova and Alexei Ryabtsev's first Junior Grand Prix event together, coached by Natalia Linachuk.
And Elena and Alexei will start with Man with the Hex as the track for the rhythm dance. Elena Dimitrova and Alexei Ryabtsev representing Bulgaria. And Ted, I'm trying to think of an analogy for this performance, perhaps the single skating that we've seen or the pair skating. It's kind of like this team's got the planned program content that is high value and all the potential to score well. It needs significantly more time together. There were some little highlight moves. I love the cantilever spread eagle that they did together before the twizzles. There was some really difficult transitional content where they were hooking up legs and there was a position that was unique and innovative. But it did also appear that the team hasn't had the time to cement the clarity of the choreography. It all seemed a little bit frenetic at this stage.
They were skating like two individuals, happened to be in the same, dance, but not as a team yet. It will take time.
And you can see Elena struggling there with the action of the rotation. She was pirouetting on the spot, spinning on the spot really for the first twizzle. It's a tricky habit to get rid of. But here we see the quick step. And I actually thought this was interesting. You could see this team choosing to stay in the Killian hold for both the rumba and the quick step. And here the straight line lift. This was fun. Elena giving it some with her armography. And then the difficult dismount. That coming in at level 4. Chance to see that again. He has to sustain that spread eagle for at least 3 seconds to achieve the level for his part in contributing towards level 4. And here again, just confirmation things. Still just a little bit rough as they continue to amass the experience together. But what I'm loving is that they're united in shaping hearts. They were together at the end of the performance. And hopefully this experience will just give them more clarity when they do return to training to keep doing more run-throughs, because the score we're about to see, I think it would be quite easy to add maybe 10, 15 points in a fortnight. Within the experience that they've had here, I think that just a bit more clarity and a few more run-throughs, they could change the GOE significantly and boost the skating skills component score just a little bit more framing it up.
The background stories are so important in the lead up to competitions such as this because it's not excuses, it's just facts. If you haven't had the time or there has been an injury or in some cases people were finishing school, as we talked about a little earlier this week, to know that the preparation isn't of the same level as many of the other teams. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores for Elena and Alexei. They don't have a personal best, and this is a 29.41. Of course, third at this point in the competition. A little bit of a rough skate. You can see her expression like, whoa, that's a little bit low. But get back on the ice and train as much as you can. This will all come together in a very short period of time with more mileage. There's our next team representing China, 17-year-old Shangji Ying and 18-year-old Shirui Yang. This season coming 11th last year in Wuxi, Chinese junior champions, and 24 in the Junior World Championships.
And Shangji and Shiri have been together for 5 years already as a partnership, so hoping to see some real clarity and confidence in their movement now. hammer time for Shanji Yin and Shiryu Yang representing China, the Chinese junior champions who recently graduated from high school. And so they went to the United States for more long-term training. And so then really embracing the opportunity to work with Alexei and Elena and really try to progress up the international standings. 24th at World Juniors, hoping for more. And just looking in at the inputs as to whether or not there was a little mistake for Shanji Yin in the non-touch midline step sequence, and whether or not the technical panel deemed her to have enough weight off of her blades to incur a fall. And that could be pretty costly because it was within an element. And I think from what I can see, that is the case. So that's going to have a big impact on the technical element score of that, plus that 1 point deduction. But look at the energy and commitment there. They've worked that section in front of the mirrors. And here, constantly moving arms, a feature, and well matched throughout. And they just clinging on there to the little breaks in the rotation. If you can see, the blade of Shanji Yin was just checking and stopping. So that will drop the level as we look at this. This is a key point. That's a Choctaw step, and they have to have a blade's length of distance between their skates when they step down on that. So anybody that knows a Choctaw step will know it's tricky to execute well. It might look simple, but not so much. Requires really open hips as we look at the, I think this is the little bibble. I don't know if I'd give it a fall. But
yeah, I think she was already on the knees, but it is verified as a fall now. So that's interesting.
And here, rotational lift to conclude the program. So a huge life experience for Shanji and Shiryu, now working, as I said, in the United States of America with Alexei Kilyukov and Elaine Novak and Pierre Souquet, Vazquez. And so they've got such a huge, enormous life change. So amazing now to see them in Ankara representing China, training the States with coaches from different continents, just such a family of the Ice Dance Network to try to cultivate the best skating that they possibly can.
It was interesting listening to the technical panel as they went through their analysis and making sure that their decisions were, accurate to the criteria and the rules. And it was well done. Just 2 reviews on those 5 elements. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores. 43.50, and that'll put this team currently into 3rd place. Group number 2, taking to the ice for the warm-up, Mark.
Happy days, and there we see that the American team of Stapert and Korotcov leading by quite some way already. I think the teams underneath haven't maybe had the scores that they were hoping for, and it's a fairly big event. There are 17 teams in this competition, and so as you said, Ted, rightly so in the opening, it's not particularly clear what the standings are likely to be. We have to assume that Irina Pidgaina and Artem Koval from Ukraine are going to take the title here in Ankara. But underneath that, it's not wholly clear to predict. So that makes it exciting. And I think that's one of the things that we relish to see in ice dance, is that now there is room for maneuverability in the standings.
Yeah, and it's not clear at all. I mean, you were very delicate. You say, well, it's not. No, it's not clear. Anything can happen, and it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds, because some of these teams we have not seen, or we've only seen once, and so how much have they improved. And we talk about clear leaders coming in based on history, what they have accomplished so far in results, and what we've seen their skill level. And the team from Ukraine, of course, we've seen that over a number of years, but the rest of the teams are relatively new, and so we will find out what unfolds here today, and then we'll have a better understanding of the dance events as we move forward on the Junior Grand Prix.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Last week, I remember when we were in Riga, that for, I think, the majority of the teams that had made the top group after the rhythm dance, we could see that those 2 partners had spent more time in their partnership already, and then the lower down the rankings, there were teams that were much nearer to one another. And there's one in the ice dance competition, of course, as is the case in pairs, you are the sum of the two parts. So ideally for each of these ice dance couples, individually each skater has quality skating skills. So if somebody is in an ice dance partnership and somebody has skating skills that are worth maybe 6 out of 10, which is almost medal contention at this level, but another partner is only worth 3 out of 10, then of course the team's not going to have the greatest of success. But once you've got then a team that's got a mutual skating skill standard, it doesn't guarantee immediate success. It takes a while in ice dance, even though there are no definitive falling elements, where it's really visible that, it's not like they go out and they do a quad twist and side-by-side triple lutzes, which have a big base value. Ice dance doesn't have that same significant, obvious technical element score boost, but time together just really pays off in dividends. And we look at the likes of Piper Gillis, Paul Poirier, Mavis Chalk, Kevin Bates, Charmaine Guinard, Marco Fabry, or Lila and Lewis, the front runners in the world standings, and those teams have all been together for, well, the 3 of those 4 teams I think have been together for over a decade. So just gives you an indication. Time.
Different. It's a different discipline, that's for sure. Mark, also we can just sort of promote early on in the day that if you would like to send some questions or let us know where you're watching from, what city, what country, what your favorite discipline is, or do you have any skaters you'd like to do a shout out for, please send that to the ISU social media in Instagram, I believe, right, Mark?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, on the back of that yesterday when we made that shout out and we were talking about what was taking place, great to hear through the night we have had a reply from @Nico_Nemo in regards to our debate whether or not any skater had competed in 2 disciplines at major championship level. And Andrew Dodds, whilst we're watching the ice dance competition, Andrew Dodds from Australia competed at 4 continent championships in 2019 as an ice dancer and in men's singles.
There you go.
So that's pretty cool. So any other stats like that? I love a stat or a bit of intel.
Hey, research, it's all good. There's a lot of information out there, and we're kind of left on our own to do the best we can. Having any input from people in the field and listening to us is very welcomed.
And indeed, as we come to the near end of this warm-up, we mentioned in the first group that the Ice Dance Technical Committee have been really open to hearing from skaters and coaches. And, there's debate amongst the ice dance community about what best to do to present and represent our sport. It'd be interesting to hear, even from the skating community and the skating fans outside of this niche inner world, what is it that you want to see? There was debate last week about should there be more compulsory dancing? Should there be more, or pattern dancing as it is now known? And it's just interesting to hear, because I know that there are many diehard ice dance fans who've been involved in the sport for decades that really lament the absence of the compulsory dances, which were last competed in 2010. But then we also have to be mindful of the viewership and to try to entice people that are not ice dancers.
It's very difficult for those people who know about the sport, follow the sport in great detail, versus an audience that we want to attract, who doesn't know much about it and become interested. So, what are the types of things that are going to attract both those audiences, which are quite diverse? Okay, here we go. Group number 2 of 4 in the rhythm dance. And the first team represents Sweden, 17-year-old Anna Mackenzie and 20-year-old Wesley Lockwood. This is their second Junior Grand Prix season. They placed 16th right here in Ankara 1 year ago. They are the Swedish junior champions.
And Coach Caroline explained that they'd like to show increased speed and better connection with each other in their performance this season to What Is Love and As Long As You Love Me. Sweden's Anna Mackenzie and Wesley Lockwood complete their rhythm dance, and I feel, Ted, upon watching this performance, a really clean and well-prepared team that obviously have been well trained in advance of this competition. And they just finished a high performance camp in Sweden and got a lot of great feedback there. And coming into this event, you can tell that they seem self-assured and ready. I thought the program was perhaps relatively simple, but that offered them the chance to go clean as they did.
I think it's a really good point. It doesn't matter what level you're at. If you are prepared, then you have the confidence to run through your program in competition. And even if you're a weaker skater at the beginning, you're going to have confidence throughout the program.
And here we see them working through. This is the key point. Left, forward, inside, right, backward, outside edge, left, forward, inside edge again. And you can see here that team choosing to do different leg extensions within part of the rumba, and that's totally entitled. Here, great camera angle to see a good match between the team. And interested to do a left, forward, inside, start edge as their second twizzle. That's not as common a choice of second twizzle entry edge. Here we see it again. Oh, a little chance to relive it. It's right back out the edge to start.
That's not intentional. I don't know why I'm pushing that button and it's getting twice the replay. I'm not sure why. Anyways, carry on.
You're just trying to show off those features. That's what it is. And here, working through the non-touch there, some of the difficult turns. And here, just chance to see then this insight into the skating skills as we look at the rotational lift, which has come through at level 4. Yeah, a difficult entry with that twizzle and the hops surrounding the lift itself to secure the level 4. A little bit of sass there from Anna Mackenzie.
Pretty clean skate for Anna and Wesley. They have a personal best of 45.06 and might come somewhat close to that. Of course, was from last year. And we'll see what they draw with this performance. With her rhythm dance score for Anna and Wesley, 44.25, just a little bit shy of their personal best. That'll put them third at this stage of the competition.
Love to see the reactions.
Our next team represents Hong Kong, 14-year-old Xing and 19-year-old Han Wang Chau.
And Yuan celebrated her birthday yesterday, 15 yesterday. And so we send our congratulations to her as she and partner Han Wan skate to You Can't Touch This, and they put me in the mix. Yuan Xing and Han Chau representing Hong Kong here in Ankara at the Junior Grand Prix. And Ted, we were talking about how I don't have much stats or information on this couple, so we're just seeing them very fresh, and I'm so impressed at the clarity and the obvious work that has been done to get them very cleanly and crisply prepared. Good match, clean technique. The thing for this team that will differentiate them from others is just the speed, the power, and the ice coverage. So they look great, and now moving forward, it will be to inject deeper knees and ankles to create more flow. Although they look good here with that feature into the twizzles. Love that single salto. Difficult entries. We see the right forward outside second twizzle. And here, how many of these difficult turns will be given? So 3 difficult turns given, called clean for Hanwan. Not as much success for Yuan, as we see that forward inside counter, a little bit of a scratch you can see on the tracing of the blade catching the toe pick, and thus making that counter turn not callably clean, as we see now. Final element, rotational lift. And I'm really appreciative of the commitment to the extension in her feet from Yuan. Nice clean pointed toes. And the perfect amount of sass to finish.
You know, I thought their expression, I know it's not the technical part of the dance, but their expression was really strong throughout the whole program. That part was really good. And your point about, you know, stronger skating skills, a little bit more floor, ice coverage, etc. You add that. That's a pretty strong team. It's not bad.
Yeah, they look great together. You talked about, you know, teams that you would invest in. Like, they're investable.
Well, 47.31, and that'll put them currently in the second place. There's a look at your top 5 teams so far in this event. And there is the team representing Czechia. Lauren, Audrey Batka, and Jacob Yang. This is their 3rd Junior Grand Prix season. They were 23rd at the Junior World Championships back in 2023. They're coached by Mark Batka.
Lauren and Jacob will skate to the classic I Will Always Love You and Queen of the Night for their 1990s rhythm dance.
It's all in
your life.
Lauren Audrey Batka and Jacob Yang complete their rhythm dance. And we were just chatting, Ted, off air because I was questioning my memory, but I seem to remember Lauren and Jacob competing on the Junior Grand Prix last season and having just the most torrid and awful fall.
Yep.
And I think you corroborate that. And so then to me, to then see them out here skating cleanly after my memory of something so frustrating for them, I'm delighted to see them. They've got a new coaching staff this year, and it's just great to see that knowing that they've obviously had hardships, some of them visible right in front of our eyes on the live stream, and they've reunited and they're working together and they're back stronger than they were, and that pleases me greatly.
Yeah, this was a strong performance for this team. Just a little slip, but not much else. We'll see what scores they come up with. Here's the Twizzles, Mark.
Just a little mismatch through the start, so that forces the judges to impact the grade of execution. As we see, and you can see just a little difference within the foot placement of their free leg extension. So just that refinement and detail they'll continue to develop. Here, the rumba, and this coming up the key point, the choctaw. There's a good distance between the feet and the placement, but maybe the tech panel, I can't hear, but just a little bit of scratch. Here, Ted, you and I both, that was amazing from Jacob. A little whoopsie, little struggle, and a break in the rotation, but that could have so easily been a horrible rotational lift outcome, and he salvaged it well. I felt my core muscles engage for him. I was like, "Ugh! Hold it together, lad," and he did.
Yeah, that was a great save.
And now, working with Andrew Hallam and Joey Russell. Like I say, Ted, just great to see, you know, everybody has challenges. The sport is tough, but that tough event that they had last year, so good to see that they're still together and united and working as one, pursuing their goals together.
Yeah, it's hard to see the bright days when it's, you know, when it's cloudy that day. It's really hard to know that there's a brighter future. And you can theorize, and people say, yeah, I know. But at the day that you have a difficult fall for that, you wonder, you know, what are we doing? Are we going to get better? How do we get better? Everything's become a little bit of a negative thought. But here, in this case, for Lauren and Jacob, it's 44.46. This was a much better skate for them. Perhaps a pretty good start on this season. That'll put them currently into 4th place.
Quite tight between the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Scored.
Yeah, lots going to happen in the free program. And there is our next team representing Great Britain. 14-year-old Mimi Marler-Davies and 18-year-old Joseph Black, British junior champions, 20th at the World Junior Championships last season.
And Mimi and Joseph have a Men in Black meets Cosmic Girl theme. Mimi Marler-Davies and Joseph Black from Great Britain share a hug at the conclusion of their rhythm dance. And we were just talking, Ted, about how well styled the team is. And Mimi's costume is inspired by a Thierry Mugler and Alexander McQueen alien collection. And we'll talk more about the rationale behind that. But kisses, I think, from the parents so proudly watching.
Now, did you say alien collection?
Yeah, it was like an Alexander McQueen Thierry Mugler collection. And so that just shows you the investment the dancers make into presenting and packaging themselves. And you can see Mimi and Joseph packaged so well. And the obvious takeaway for me is seeing them compared to last season. Last season, so fresh on the scene. Now, it's like they know the score, they know what's necessary, and coming in much stronger this season as we look at the Twizzles.
Level 1 for Mimi, level 4 for Joseph. They are reviewing that right now. Yeah.
That seems a bit strict to get a 1, but we'll see what the review comes in. They're just working the steps here. Good ice coverage, good flow and glide, and that is the takeaway difference to me from the team year on year. We've obviously been working with Karen and Anne really hard and increasing that speed, flow, and ice coverage. And they both great dancers off the ice, both well-educated dancers off the ice, and you can see that when they do the stop within that step sequence as we look at the rotational lift to conclude the program.
Well, they certainly have the performance part down, that's for sure.
Oh, look at that.
No.
Men in Black, that's
Men
so
in Black.
cool.
Yeah.
You can see, she's in the Sylvia Young Theatre School, they performed in the West End, and you can see that comprehension of the whole theatrical production as they take their shades to the kiss and cries. Alan joins them.
The personal best was 43.14, and this is a 49.12, so their personal best from last season was beaten by a good 6 points with this program. That'll put them currently into second place with 2 groups yet to skate. Nice job. You all look pretty happy with that. And we'll take a look at the standings so far, and then we move on to the next 2 groups. And Mark, what do we have on the video playback coming up during the ice resurfacing?
Well, chance to listen to the interview from last week's winners, the Canadians Leila Vaillant and Alexandra Brandis, and then the figure skating basic series that those that were watching yesterday will have had a little insight to. We're going to discuss again pairs versus ice dance.
That's a fun one. All right, remember that. Okay, we're going to take a short break here in the ice resurfacing. Enjoy those videos. We'll be back right after this.
So Leila and Alex, huge congratulations. You are gold medalists. Now you are coming into this Junior Grand Prix season in, I think, your 4th season on the Junior Grand Prix. You've had a bronze medal before, but what were your ambitions and goals for this season?
I just want to be bold, very much out there, want to prove that we deserve this. We deserve to be
at the top. Coming into this year, like Alex said, that was a main focus for us, and we really had a lot of passion towards our programs and everything coming into this year, especially after last year. We knew what we needed to improve on, and being able to be here and just get that one step further has felt amazing. We're really proud of ourselves.
And rightly so. You both looked incredible. I particularly loved your free dance. Now, it's an amazing achievement, not just to win gold here, but to have had a partnership that is already 11 years old. You guys have been skating together. I mean, you're not old enough to be skating together for 11 years. So what, though, is the main goal? How many more years are you guys going to skate together? Is there any ambition there?
Until I get tired of her. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We get told we're like an old married couple because we're definitely like brother sister also. Yeah. But obviously the big goal is the Olympics one day, and however many years that takes, we're in it and we're ready.
Happy days. Now, we were joking earlier on with your coach, Kara Moyer, who's here and supported you here, about how you put up with Mr. Scott Moyer. I thought that was comical. But you've got an amazing, illustrious coaching staff. How much do they inspire you guys?
Oh, greatly. They're the reason why I want to keep skating. I want to keep improving. They bring really great energy every day at the
Yeah.
rink.
Every single day, they inspire us, like Alex said.
Yeah.
We can't imagine training anywhere else, honestly.
Yeah.
We love all of our coaches. They bring all such a different aspect and different ideas. Like the creativity is just insane, and the care for their athletes. And yeah, we absolutely love it.
Oh, that's incredible. So gold here in Riga. Where's the next stop for you guys on the Junior Grand Prix?
Gdansk, Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we wish you all the very best, and thank you for the brilliant skating here.
Thank you.
Welcome to the basics, the difference between ice dancing and pair skating. Now, I was a pair skater. Big, long elements, dynamic, risky, that lifts above the head all the way down the ice. It's pretty incredible stuff. You throw or assist the lady across the ice. Amazing discipline.
Yes, you can almost tell the ice dancers when they walk into the venue. I did ice dance, and we tend to be much more dramatic and expressive, and the ice dancers will try to seamlessly weave their elements into the choreography with perhaps a greater focus upon the aesthetic and the storytelling of the performance than the pair skaters.
Also, in ice dance, skaters must maintain dance hold, and should they separate, they cannot be for more than 2 arms lengths apart. This rule adds an interesting layer of challenge. It's fascinating to see how the ice dancers skillfully maneuver through complex elements while maintaining such close contact.
And one of the interesting things about pair skating, the men will use a thing called firm grip, which is essentially kind of a glue that goes on their hands to ensure that the grips between the woman and the man stay firm, because it's very, very dangerous in a death spiral or in a lift if those hands slip. So that's important. Do you use firm grip?
No, the ice dancers don't use firm grip, and the difficulty, the complexity, and the risk of the pair's elements will not just dictate the grip that's needed between the partners, but also even down to the costume, whereas the ice dancers will be as elaborate as they possibly can in their costuming, and that is the first way in which to differentiate pair skater and ice dancer.
But don't let the beauty of ice dancing fool you in that it's not difficult. It's incredibly difficult to perform at that level, to have their difficult lifts and their difficult elements, both disciplines, spectacular. Welcome back, everyone, to Ankara, Turkey, and the second day of competition, the rhythm dance group number 3 on the ice. I'm Ted Barton, along with Mark Henready, joining us from his home studio in Nottingham. That's a throw to you, Mark.
Cue Mark. Hello, everybody. We're ready for more 1990s rhythm dancing, and we haven't had any questions coming in yet. We obviously do not control the ISU social media, but we get sent the questions that come in. I am going to open the forum, though. A question from me to you, Mr. Barton. 1990s, music choice, rhythm dance, go. What would Mr. Barton skate to?
Oh, man, you're asking me to remember back what the name of the tunes were. I mean, okay, you were desperate for questions, but that's not good, right? I just know that the 90s were a heck of a lot better than the 70s. Although there was some good music in the 70s. It just the outfits were horrible, and I had to wear them. But the 90s started to get a lot better. And, you know, it's interesting because there's a lot of young people now that are starting to follow music from the past and actually quite like it. So you always think that the old music, people say, oh, that's awful music. Why is that? Because they're only current today. But it's kind of cool. Shows how long, you know, great music, you know, lasts forever. And whether it's the 70s, 80s, or now we take a look at the 90s here, the young people are kind of embracing it and making it part of their today culture.
And it's interesting when we think about like 1990s. For me, thinking of the 70s, although you joked, Ted, about the costumes and or the outfits and how terrible they were, it was iconic. And then when I think now, looking at the 1990s, albeit I was young, I was around the 1990s, and I can't think of the same kind of definitive aesthetic. So like flares of the 70s, you know, I can see, or like Freddie Mercury in the 80s. I was around in the 1990s, but I can't remember the same kind of definitive aesthetic looks. I suppose maybe you could think of Britney Spears or Aguilera, but there's not quite as much perhaps to latch onto for the skaters. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, especially maybe as we move towards the senior ranks where the costuming or the teams have been together so long and they really go for those fine detail. It'll be interesting to see what the costume choices will be.
It's true. It's sort of. Then that's. The 90s got a little bit blurry. I mean, it was good. It was great. But, you know, the 70s, pretty clear, right? Both costumes and music. And somewhat the 80s as well. But then it started to blur because many, many more artists got involved. And so the range of that music in the 90s, you know, I think you'll see more choices here that we won't know of or we would not heard of. But when it comes to the 70s, we all heard, well, maybe you're too young, I don't know. But, you know, all us old people knew all the songs in the 70s, right? So, but there's many more pieces that were created later on in the 80s and 90s.
And it was interesting as we were watching the first groups in this competition, and I heard Whitney Houston, I can't remember, it was the Czech team, Lauren Audrey Batka and Jacob Yang, and I was thinking, oh, you kind of forget there are some artists that are cross-generational and you kind of forget where they're from, so it's interesting to just touch base with some of the icons, and certainly Whitney Houston is for sure one of those.
Yeah. We take a look at Benjamin Brisebois from IM in Montreal. He goes out a lot with the junior teams and is working on a number of the teams as they enter the school at a younger age, and giving the basics. He does a great job with the rest of the coaching team there.
And as we look at the Americans and the Canadians, we analyze and assess that we assume, because of the strength of those skating nations, particularly in the ice dance field, that the North Americans will feature heavily in the end result. What's also interesting to note is how many of these teams have already come up against one another because they competed at the Lake Placid ice dance competition. And for those that aren't familiar, Lake Placid, the home of the 1980 Winter Olympic Games, is the event that takes place there. One of the first events of the season is always a really interesting gauge to see what is likely to happen during the season. And indeed, that competition is one that many ice dancers globally will try to tune into to get information from, because it's the first time that the new season's criteria is performed. So lots of these teams chose to do that and compete at that event.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I haven't seen this new team NL and Jan. I don't know if they're a new team, but I haven't seen them before. So that's going to be fun. And as we mentioned in the opening, you mentioned several times, sort of after Pidgaina and Koval, there isn't a lot that we know about these teams. And so we're going to learn a lot more over the next hour or so. So let's get started on group number 3. It's going to be interesting indeed. And we'll see some of these teams, if not all of them, on another Junior Grand Prix a little bit later in the season. So representing the United States of America, and now Kouevi 14 and Yin and Homawoo is 15. This is their first Junior Grand Prix event. They were 9th at the U.S. Nationals in junior, and they're coached by Alexei Kilikov and Elena Novak.
And this team are cousins, and they've been skating together for 7 years already, sharing a fist pump as they prepare to skate their rhythm dance.
Shake it ass!
Engel, Kouevi and Yin and Homawoo, just such a shame. Oh, there you can see those supporting them.
Yeah.
And you know, I mentioned that they're cousins. We're just debating, is this the first cousins team that we've seen? Kisses blown, I guess, from family down to the ice for them. And because we saw the family in the stands before, you can just engage with the family effort here. There's so much life commitment from the family behind them, and you want the family to be able to come here and just celebrate all the hard work and see this great result and success and celebration. And now the family are going to have to work hard to elevate the team following that frustration.
Well, yeah, and look, this team has got a lot of power. and they got a lot of rhythm. There's no question. There's great danceability in there, and maybe not as much experience at this stage in competition. But as we take a look at the Twizzles here, Mark.
Yeah, and this is their first international competition together, so that has a huge sense of responsibility there. And then here is this where we. No! And what the problem, not just the fall, but then they missed the opening steps of the rumba. So then it was just a chassis that they missed, I think, but then consequently the judges, no matter how good this rumba was or was not, will have to drop in the grade of execution. Here, though, we can see the quality of the team. They are pushing and strong. They are committed to the ingoing and outgoing edges of these difficult turns. And I love this, and I love the dance break at the end of the program. When you think 1990s and the music that they had, I thought they were totally on point in regards to their interpretation.
Yeah, and after that fall got a little tight, throughout the rest of the program. This is a pretty strong team, and that was a little rough outing for them, but you can see the potential, the power, the dancing, the excitement. There's a lot of good assets that this team has, and we'll see how they continue to grow and mature along in the journey. And this is one of the experiences you need to have. It's not pleasant, but you need to have these, sort of wakes you up to the moment.
And this team, they actually beat the current leaders, Stapert and Korotcov, when they were competing in Lake Placid, so they're definitely capable of taking the lead here. But the sport, fortunately and unfortunately, there's a clear criteria for when things like that happen in regards to the scores. Maybe in years gone by in our old system, you could survive with the fall not having quite as significant an impact. But for right or wrong, the criteria, the criteria forces the scores to drop because of what happened.
The scores for Engel and Hienne, 46.52. That'll put them fourth. That'd be a little disappointing for this team because you can certainly see the abilities and potential. And a rough start to this event, but they'll move forward into the free dance and bring this experience onto their next competition throughout the season. Our next team represents Ukraine. 14-year-old Tatiana Belodonova and 18-year-old Ivan Kachur. First Junior Grand Prix season, second event coming 8th last week in Riga.
Yes, the first of the teams to be competing in back-to-back Junior Grand Prix assignments. They had success. They had more success in the rhythm dance last week. They were 6th in that portion of the competition and hoping to capitalize on that in Ankara.
All right, stop, collaborate and listen. I suspect with a brand new adventure, something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop, yo? I don't know. Turn off the lights, and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a jump like a candle.
Pidgaina, Belodonova, and Ivan Kachur complete their back-to-back rhythm dance performances, and it makes it for a really interesting discussion, Ted, because I actually think this was definitely stronger than last week, and you see a classic example of the increased assurity that competition experience and performances give to the skaters, because as we see their flag waved in the audience, Pidgaina and Ivan came out here just with that crisper, sharper, more confidence. What is really important for me to acknowledge here is that the technical panel at this event are much stricter in regards to their assessment of the elements. And so when we look through at these twizzles, the catch of the leg is a feature, the hand above the head is a feature, hands clasped in front of the body also a feature, but it's coming in as just a level 2 and 2. So there are reasons the panel must believe that there were either not sufficiently established features or that there were breaks in rotation. But I don't think the twizzles were any less well performed this week than last, but their value based on this panel will be different. It will not affect the result of this competition, it'll just affect some of the scoring internationally.
And, you know, it's okay from the perspective of keeping a consistent standard in this competition and consistent last week, but it may not always be consistent between competitions.
Yeah, and I mean, the panel deemed the split slide there to be worthy of a fall, so there's a -1, and there'll be a big impact there, slashing their grade of execution, because the judges, if a fall goes in, have to decimate the GOE. So
is it a loss of balance? I'm not sure how what reads in the rules, because she was already on her knees. Same thing with the other team, but there was a little bit of a loss of balance. So we'd have to try to find that fall rule on that portion, because when both teams were sliding on the knees and there was a bit of a loss of balance, it went in as a fall. So we should try to find that definition.
Yeah, because within the step sequence, you are allowed to touch the ice with your body, any part of your body. So it is allowed. The tech panel just have been really strict in assessing that she lost control within that split.
Yeah.
And that's going to cost them, you know, 4, 5 points.
And that's
okay.
okay.
So this is going to be hard to accept the score.
That's okay, Mark. If it says loss of control, they both did that. So that's fair and the same. 40.30 for Pidgaina and Ivan. That'll put them currently in 9th place, and that is significantly less than their 51 from last week.
That just, and look how maturely they accept that. They're so stoic in accepting of a score that's 11 points less than last week, and I thought it was great. Well done, team.
Or they're wondering.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next team represents France. 15-year-old Louise Kohas-Bogey and 17-year-old Danielle Grishin. Second Junior Grand Prix season, 12th in Gdansk last season, 5th in the Bavarian Open. The coach choreographed by Barbara Piton.
And Barbara Piton, the coach of the silver medalists in Riga last week, Daniel Mouadin and Theo Bijot. Daniel hoping for the same success as their teammates. Louise Kohas-Bogey and Daniela Grishin from France, and I spotted them in the warm-up, Ted, and was thinking, wow, the ice covers that they have in the pattern dance elements, really, really strong. And obviously, as I mentioned before, they started to share the same coaching staff as the winners of the rhythm dance portion of the event last week, and I think they absolutely have the potential to be leaders in this event. But just wonder, is the competition, are the skaters sensing what's happening with others, because we're now seeing some repeated falls throughout the event?
Yeah, I love this team. I think this is a great choice of music. I think they do it terrifically. They've got the power, they've got this, the skating skills. It's whether they're going to get the calls. And in this case, for most of this event, the calls haven't been there. You're right, it's a lot stricter. Oh, you can see that fall right there in the midline steps. Boy, back up on her feet real quick.
And actually, I have to say that's a good point, Ted, because then you wouldn't know if you pick up here. Love this. And that clarity of musicality will be reflected in the positive features of the grade of execution. Here, the rumba, right into the center of the rink. Good ice coverage, good flow and glide in regards to the skating skills, and then close to the boards, coming back out.
They did not break a little bit early for her on that exit, but they did not break performance. That's amazing. They had some technical mistakes, but the performance was solid throughout.
And just, I feel like, as commentators, we've got to acknowledge what is happening on this tech panel. This tech panel, no key points at all given here. And I remember at a base level of the midline step for Louise, and just level 2 and level 1 in the twizzles. This is vastly different calling to last week. And I remember we've just got to make that clear to the skaters when they see these scores. The tech score, the panel are the reason for that. They've got a stricter, higher expectations.
Yeah, 42.29. That will put Louise and Daniel currently into 9th place. It's okay if it's stricter, but it needs to be consistent throughout the event, and we have seen that consistency to this point, at least anyways. Our next team represents Canada, Aurea Son-Debout and Earl Jesse Celestino, 18 and 19 years of age, 3rd Junior Grand Prix season, 5th at Canadian Nationals in Junior.
And this team, Ted, 9 years together. So much experience, ready to step up onto the podium. Auréa Son-Debout and Earl Jesse Celestino had explained that when they were looking for rhythm dance music, they'd practice with songs with the right beats per minute. So this season, their junior dancers have to find music that has 120 beats per minute within that range for the relevant compulsory dances. And then when they came across the Macarena, they laughed, but thought, why not? And incidentally, Ted, when the Macarena was playing, even though I knew the music choice that they had, I thought, this is 1990s. Definitively 1990s with the Macarena.
Yeah, pretty clear with that song. It was pretty popular, especially during synchronized competitions where the audience would be dancing to that. It'd be going crazy.
And as we look back at the performance from Auréa and Earl Jesse, it's interesting, having discussed the requirements of this technical panel, when it's as clear as this, that was a wonderfully difficult entry into the synchronized twizzles, the tech panel happy to give out the higher numbers on the levels for this team, which we haven't seen for any of the others. They obviously providing no debate in regards to the relevant clarity of these difficult turns. So the team must have shown 4 different clean turns. Here's a rocker, really clear and visible and sustained for long enough. There was a little bit of a mistime in the cross roll within the rumba. But here, in regards to key points, 3 out of the 4 on that. It's really impressive.
Which has been the best so far?
Sizably best. And so when we'd said we weren't sure exactly what the results are to be, as they take a photo for the photo album, this team really stepping up, and now they cementing themselves as contenders for the title.
Well, they have a 55.79 as their personal best, but here it's a 57.14. Wow, they broke last year's personal best. High five. Big smiles. They take the lead. 1 group to come, 5 teams. Look at that smile. Well, Earl Jesse's got that smile from ear to ear. Great feeling. Okay, the next set of teams take to the ice. Group number 4 in the rhythm dance, first event here on day 2. Mark?
Yeah, and yet again, still no questions coming in, Ted. So
either people gave up or we just didn't answer them properly. I don't know.
Actually, wonderfully, and I'm very grateful to those that have contacted, some of our discussion throughout yesterday's broadcast has given further intel. So we'll be able to discuss a little bit more pertaining to the skaters that were competing in the singles events, which will take place later today. So thank you to those that have clarified any queries and questions we have. Maybe, Ted, indeed, we now send out the questions back out, because we did have some answers, as I said, with the likes of confirmation that there are skaters who have managed to compete at IUC Championships in 2 different disciplines, with Andrew Dodds from Australia achieving just that. I'm going to quiz the audience as we see some incredible speed and ice coverage, and wow, this looks strong.
I would like to know from the audience whether or not they would like to be able to hear the calling during the performance, have access to it anyways, to listen to the calls of the technical panel, what the element is, what the element degree of difficulty was called at the moment, and whether the element was reviewed. Is that something that people would like to have access to? Not all the time, because that's talking during the performance, but it's not a lot of talking. It's, twizzles, level 4 for the women, level 2 for the men, whatever. So it's very clear and short. But would you like to have access to that? I'd be interested in those answers.
Actually, it was interesting to see there were quite a few people that commented last week regarding that and saying how desperately keen they were to hear that. And for me, I'm always fascinated to hear the review process, because then you get an understanding of the real nitty-gritty of the assessment of the element. And
nitty-gritty.
That.
Well, yeah, that's a strong, the process of it. There's no battles or anything like that. But what's interesting, although in the beginning of the system it was interesting, because teamwork was not established at the time, so if people have difference of opinions, they fought for their opinion. But people understand the teamwork and the time frame in which they have to make a decision. So it's really, really efficient now.
And interestingly, as we discussed the technical panel, last Sunday morning when I was leaving Riga and heading back to the airport. I was on the bus from the hotel to the airport, and there were some members of the tech panels that were there, and they were just joking about how intimidating it was perhaps for them to know that they're being listened to. It's new, it's a process that we haven't had before, but all of them accepting that they know that they are totally at peace with what they're doing to let the world hear it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from all the technical panel as well. They understand now what we're doing, and they're comfortable and confident in the process and in the decisions they make. So why not? If you are, then open it up. We have that in every other sport. Referees have challenges can come from the opposing coach as to call by the referee. Was it out or was it in? They take a review, and if it was called in and it was out, it's overruled. Now, that's not going to happen in this sport. There's too many elements that are happening too quickly. But the point is, you should be able to hear how that process is done, and that's been worked on. I think it's a great part of 2030 vision, and kudos to the ISU for considering this and testing this out here with us.
They're the heavy favourites there. Irina Pidgaina and Artem Koval, the Ukrainian team that we predict will lead the field, having been just off the podium at Junior Grand Prix final and Junior Worlds. However, we know the Turkish ice dance team, the only other team, I believe, from this competition of the 17 entries who competed at last year's Junior World Championship. So they come in with an experience and hopefully a little bit of extra support being in their home country. Yeah. And actually, I don't know if you must have seen it, Ted. I saw just on the cameras earlier on today before the broadcast started, a huge poster in support of this team, Yucel and Pak. They are obviously very popular here.
Yeah, I did an interview. You'll see that tomorrow with one of the members of the staff at the Turkish Skating Federation. Interesting about the development of skating. In the last 3 years, it has exploded, the popularity here in Turkey. 12 arenas here. They need more. They want more. Government support is coming in. Enthusiasm. The public is falling in love with the sport. So that's pretty cool. You'll hear that interview tomorrow. And in my openings, I mentioned this team from Turkey, Irmak, Yucel, and Pak. They were 9th last year here, and people are interested. They would like to see now those results. Before it was participation, getting experience. Now they would love to see those results start to climb up a little bit, so we'll see what happens here. Big celebration tomorrow, National Day, Victory Day here in Turkey. We'll see bands marching around the rink in between the events, fly over by jets, a big day tomorrow, and so it's a pretty exciting weekend.
ISU timing of the events is fantastic because last week Riga was the event took place just after Riga celebrated its 824th anniversary, and now in Ankara it's national celebrations as well. Well done, the ISU, for the timing.
Absolutely, maybe lucky, but good anyways. Here's our first team in the final group representing France: 19-year-old Leah Hienne and 18-year-old Louis Varescon. And this is relatively a new team. This is their very first Junior Grand Prix event.
Yes, teamed up just in March 2024. And now skating to wannabe stop. And who do you think you are? Well, how wonderful to see Leah Hienne and Louis Varescon getting to compete on the Junior Grand Prix. Last year, as I said, they teamed up in March 2024, but in June, Leah had a big fall and a bad concussion, so they missed the Junior Grand Prix qualifier in France and potentially the opportunity to represent their nation on this stage. And now, finally, they are here, and they explained that their love and inexhaustible passion for dancing gave them the energy to keep going. And so this is a total celebration of that passion to keep going, now representing France in the Junior Grand Prix, and doing so in a way that is going to put them in contention for the lead.
Yeah, good numbers coming in on that rhythm dance.
And we could get an insight in their Spice Girls. The question is she Scary Spice, Mel B, and his costume, is that Posh Spice? That's my question. But anyway, as we look back
way beyond my ability.
Looking back at the elements here. So trying to up the grade of execution with these changes of edge and the double three turns in between the first and the second twizzle. And then the left forward outside the Group C feature. They can't repeat that in the free dance. This was really cool actually here. The lyric was going in the wrong direction at the beginning of the midline step, and they were going in different directions. And I thought, you know, they're French, but they're taking acknowledgement of the English-speaking lyrics within this step, and I hope that was intentional, because to me that should be reflected in the composition of their program, paying attention to not just the beat, the energy of the music, but also the lyrics when we have the opportunity to use lyrics as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was the wrong direction. I think that was planned and choreographed. It was just different.
Yeah, I like it. And it won't be the last time we hear the Spice Girls, as they're joined by Olivier Schoenfelder. He, of course, a former world champion. Such an incredible, incredible skater himself.
Rhythm dance scores for Liette and Lewis, 57.88. Pretty happy with that. Olivia said, oh, not bad. And that'll put this team currently into first place with 4 teams to come. But very close. You see on the leaderboard there. Our next team, well, the potential leaders, anyways, we'll see Irina Pidgaina and Artem Koval from Ukraine.
And Irina explained that they have new programs, a new style, and a new way to skate and present themselves as they skate to the Backstreet Boys. A hug shared between Irina Pidgaina and Artem Koval. They said that they could not be more excited to start the season and get it going. As I said, they explained that this is new for them, this stylization, this energy, and they have embraced it. The later stages of the program started to get a little bit looser, but they're pushing themselves to they're challenging even the rotational lift at the end, the transitional entry, transitional exit, the choice of features, the choice of position. They're not, to me, it doesn't look like they're just waiting to step up onto the podium because they were 4th last year and the others are now no longer competing. They look like they want to jump up onto the podium.
You could clearly see the difference in the quality of just the basic skating skills as they took to the ice. Look at the speed and the twizzles.
So much speed. And here, just the clarity and unison of their body movement, the point of the free leg extension, the team showcasing quality here. The deftness of the knee and the ankle action when they're doing the difficult turns. Soft knees, cushioned knees, keeping the flow going. Slight mismatch there. And I think the program will just continue to clean and clean. And this, with the steps that everybody has to do now, you can really separate the skaters in regards to the quality. You can just see the flow, the glide. It's so incredibly important that the ice coverage will dictate so much of the result for the ice dancers, and Irina and Artem showcasing that. That's such a unique, interesting choice of entry, and they're the rotational lift feature with the 1 foot rotation from Artem. Just a little scrappier towards the end, which is inevitable at this point in the season. And that gives them room for growth with this program.
You could see a lot of transitional work into and out of that. Wow, he's got some muscles, that's for sure.
And I always want to shout out Galina Churalova, their coach, as well, because they've all relocated to Vienna in Austria and they're all so united. And indeed, the team said that their coaching staff go through the journey and support with them.
63.08 for Irina and Artem. That is first in the rhythm dance so far, for sure. By a good 6 points, close to. Well, our next team, you know where they're from, because you'll hear the screams from Czechia. Irma, Yucel, Pak.
Wonderful to hear the support of their home crowd. And Irma, Yucel, and Daniel have to tap into that and hopefully use that to elevate their performance level in attaining higher scores from the judges as they get ready to skate to Cosmic Girl and Be My Lover. Oh, wow! Oh my goodness, look at the number of toys thrown on. They're pulling them out of the bags. It's like, there isn't a huge audience number here, but each person that seems to have come through the arena has brought 10 or so cuddly toys for Yucel and Yucel and Pak. What an amazing moment for them. That's so cool. And you can see, Ted, as they concluded their program and they received that rapturous applause from the home crowd, you could see obviously the joy in having skated cleanly as he did, but I think a little bit of relief, because when you look at this, there's some element of responsibility on the hands of Irmak and Daniil for performing.
I've been talking a lot about the interest in skating and the support of the government and the association here. There's a lot of interest in the sport, and so skaters like this are leaders, and they inspire the next generation. So it's so important, the support and their performance.
And they skated a really clean performance. Great to see there the kiss and the hand from Irmak to try to push the grade of execution and acknowledging the music within the element. And for me, when we see the non-touch midline step, just a little far apart, these are the fine details that they can continue to clarify and clean. And I thought choreographically it was crisp, it was on point, it was musical, it was a little open and simple. So in terms of transitional content, a lot of it was maybe in an open killing hold or hand in hand. And that's where we can maybe see the differences with the Ukrainians, who are much more intertwined in terms of the composition.
Well, it's really exciting to get that much support from anybody on any competition, and to have that here at home in Ankara. You know, a lot of skaters don't have that in North America, perhaps Europe, even though they're skating in their home country. But to see the enthusiasm of the local organizing committee and the local clubs, and their clubs are growing every single day, as I'm told, and so more people becoming interested. They watch on television, they watch on live streaming, and you can see that enthusiasm today on show after this team just ended their rhythm dance. Beautiful.
Yeah, and interestingly, in their ISU biography, they get the opportunity to write their hobbies. Daniil's is one of them is being the best partner of all time.
Oh, that's cool. The score is 53.02 for Irmak and Daniil, and they put them currently into 5th place with 2 teams to come. So looking at perhaps a 2 placement upgrade from last season on the Junior Grand Prix here in Ankara. Much more to come, though. There's our next team representing Spain, 16-year-old Sarah Marcilly Vazquez and 17-year-old Yucel and Engel. Spanish junior champions, 21st at the World Junior Championships last season.
And Sarah and Yucel have been together for 8 years already. I'm hoping to bank upon all of that experience, and just seeing those junior world results, it was a close competition between them and the Turkish team that have just competed. How will it go this season? Sera, Marcilly, Vazquez, and Julian Engel, a team that previously represented France, and they were the French intermediate novice champions before choosing to represent Spain. And I thought that this team, particularly Sera, I felt like she was thoroughly enjoying the moment. Whether or not that was just a wonderful presentation and she inhabited the character remains to be seen, but she looked like she was living her best J-Lo life in that performance.
And Mark, we're going to have to talk at some point a little bit about how people switch countries that they represent, because it sounds like, oh, I'll just go over here. There is a big process. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure. As we look back at the twizzles, change of edge, and then a little jump entry into the left back outside twizzle. And you can see just these fine details that show up in a slow motion when the team don't have necessarily the exact rotational match. And then to see here, so looking to see, there has to be one blade's length distance between the steps. It's not a conventional chalk tour. There is a distance to be performed when the foot places on the ice. As we see the non-touch step sequence, there's the rocker turn, and let's just check in with the panel. So it's deemed that Jolan had 3 difficult turns called cleanly, but less so for Sera, as we see. This was perfect on music. Difficult entry into the rotational lift. And the dismount. And just again, the clarity of positioning, trying to just keep engaging more of the body to make the shapes bolder, stronger, and cleaner for those higher component scores. But nevertheless, clean skate, and their coach of many, many years, Antoine Charrier, started coaching Sera at 5 years old and Jolan at 8 years old. He so behind his charges.
Well, the scores for Sera and Yulen in the rhythm dance. Anxiously waiting that announcement to see where they stand. Their personal best is 42.99. And this is a 45.58. And it'll put this team currently into 10th place. And they look like they're wondering, why is that score so low? And they'll take a look at the report card and identify where they will need to improve as they move on to the next event. Our final team in this event, representing Canada, Charlie Anderson and Caden Dawson, both are 19. This is their first Junior Grand Prix event, and they're coached by Scott Moyer and his team in London, Ontario.
And we've seen one Canadian team with almost a decade's worth of experience. This team just over a year of being a partnership.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's coming to leave. Too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt, so sexy. Let's kick it. Nice, nice, baby. Nice, nice, baby. Alright, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Feel like a harpoon, then hit nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights, and I'll go to the extreme.
Charlie Anderson and Caden Dawson representing Canada, and they explained that during their tryout process, everyone believed that they should team up, and they were so amazed at the immediate great chemistry, and perhaps that chemistry, the rationale behind choosing the track I'm Too Sexy for the opening of their rhythm dance. And you know what, we're talking about costuming. I'm Too Sexy for this shirt. That shirt is indicative of the 90s. Like, they've got
I kind of think I had a shirt like that. Well, not quite that sparkly, but it was the same pattern. But Charlie started skating at the age of 4, Caden at the age of 7. They're both driven by the sensation of freedom on the ice, and competing produces a surge of adrenaline, which is a mixture of fear and exhilaration, and they love it.
Happy days, and great to see that they're shared in that. As we look back at the rumba, and then here they too getting good ice coverage right into center, but not achieving the key points on the chalk. As we see the pickup into the straight line lift, he in the spread eagle, confidently moving through, and if there's an element of effortlessness to it, that will enhance the positive features chances from the judges. As we see Caden eyeballing Charlie well to ensure that they are in sync. Look at that checking of his head to ensure that the GOE for that element will be positive. And how much fun they must have had. And we were chatting to their coach last week, and she was just saying that the team, in regards to the coaching staff, the illustrious coaching staff that there is in London, Ontario, they have fun, and that breeds a great training ground for the athletes, because when you're happy, it's a lot easier to push through the run-throughs. As we see, I mean, the fun that they will have had in creating that dance block within the step sequence, inevitable.
Oh, great job. They don't have a personal best. Of course, this first time out on the Junior Grand Prix. I think they're going to be pretty happy with these scores. We'll take a look at them now. I'm not sure what they expect or what they're hoping for, but it's a 58.65. And as Caden went, yes, he's got it. And a little fist bump there. They are thrilled with that. They had no idea what to expect, but they are currently in second place after the rhythm dance. What a great start to this season. That's awesome. So we take a look at the results so far after the rhythm dance. Of course, as expected, Irina Pidgaina and Artem Koval from Ukraine, 63.08. Charlie and Caden in second, and Leah and Louis from France in third place. And a look at the rest of the field. Well, that concludes our coverage of the rhythm dance. That was fun, Mark. It's always great. You know why it's so much fun? First of all, I love the discipline. Second of all, because you do most of the work, and I so much enjoy that. I got to push a lot of buttons out here, but anyways, really enjoyed that. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the rhythm dance. Up next will be the pairs free program that should start in about 30 minutes here. For all of us here at the ISU, Mark Hanratty, I'm Ted Barton. Stay with us. We'll be back.